Solve by using the quadratic formula. 4x squared plus x is equal to x minus 5. Well, we notice that we have x's on both sides of the equation. That's very bad. And if we're going to use the quadratic formula, we want to make sure that the equation is equal to 0. So by adding that negative x, it totally went away, but I still need to get rid of this 5 if I'm going to use the formula. So I can add 5 to both sides of the equation. We now have 4x squared plus 5 is equal to 0. Our a value is 4. Our b value, a little more tricky, is 0. Because there is no x in this problem, so its coefficient is 0. And our c value is a positive 5. We need to make sure it equals 0, and then whatever sign is in front of the constant number is the sign that we use when we use the formula. X is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. So we're going to take this formula and we're going to replace every variable with a set of parentheses, and then we'll put in the value for that variable and work it out and see what we get for a nice, clean, simple answer. So the first value we need is b. Our b value is 0, and that goes there and also there. Next, our a value is 4. And that goes next to the 4 and next to the 2. And lastly, our c value is 5. Let's clean this up and see what we have. X is equal to, well, the opposite of 0 is 0, and adding and subtracting 0 doesn't do a whole lot, so I won't write it down. The square root of 0 squared is 0. 4 times 4 is 16, times 5 is 80. And that's a negative because there is one negative in the problem, divided by 8. X is equal to plus or minus, and because there's a negative inside the radical, I'm going to bring out I, square roots of, but 80 breaks down. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 5 is 80. So we can take out 2 2's, which is the number 4, leaving a 5 inside the radical, and still dividing by 8. So we'll want to try and do this reducing, and now we actually get to do it because nothing's being added to this problem. We do have a positive and a negative, but we can do this straight reducing. 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 8 twice. Our final answer is x equals plus or minus I square roots of 5 all over